Welcome to Activations with JJ. In this episode, we'll be talking about the shift from 4D to 5D, as well as changes in how the healing process works as we shift into the new earth. Hello, my friends. I'm so glad that you decided to drop in on this episode today. Whether you have been with me for a long time or you're just beginning to co-create with me, I am extremely grateful to have you here. I can feel your love and your energy. And this is absolutely what I said it was, a co-creation between all of us here. I'm really excited about the topic for today. It's something that's been coming up a lot lately, and it actually is completely connected to our September monthly energy update, as well as my last Ascension message. All of these things just tend to tie together so beautifully, and I don't even mean them to. And this one is regarding something that I think is coming up a lot among healers and light workers themselves lately, where there's been a feeling of stillness, a feeling of needing to go within, just as I talked about in the last Ascension message, rather than going without and connecting with all of our galactic guides and family members and trying to go way out in density. There's this draw to go within. And the interesting thing about the places within us is that they are very, very still right now. And for some people, that can feel a little bit unnerving. It can feel awkward or uncomfortable because we're used to so much stimuli all of the time. Our nervous systems are essentially overstimulated in this world that we live in. And so when we go within and we find silence and we find almost a feeling of a void for some of us, I want you to remember that that is how we are being guided to shift into the new earth, this state of complete centeredness and this I am presence that is very difficult to get to when you are really on edge and have a lot of anxiety by being overstimulated. A lot of us are in a process right now of shifting from 4th density to 5th density. In fact, I want to read a little excerpt from Sal Rachele's book, Earth Changes and Beyond. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in reading that book, to kind of illustrate and sort of detail what this means, because I know a lot of us have thrown out a lot of the linear thinking, and I even talk about it on my podcast. You know, we don't need to think of it as 3 and 4 and 5. We can be all of them. And while that is very helpful at times, there are also times where we're still here. And so that frame of reference is familiar to us. And it's good for us to learn a little bit about what that might feel or look like so that as we go through it, it's not foreign to us. So here is the quote I am going to read. This is from page 228 in the book Earth Changes and Beyond, Messages from the Founders. It states, "Those of you that have been vibrating at 4th density for some time now are consciously preparing to ascend into 5th density. In order to do this consciously, you must collapse the dualities within your own mind. This means seeing only contrasts rather than judgments. When you look at the qualities commonly called light and dark, good and evil, or positive and negative. A 5th density consciousness is one that sees the divine in everything without judgment. The fastest way to prepare your consciousness for 5th density is to let go of all judgment, comparison, and attachment to duality." Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. I'm sure this has resonated with some of you. It really resonates with me because the Galactic Federation seminar series, which we held last month, there were 3 different seminars, and their theme was basically unity consciousness. That's something I channeled as I sat down to create this seminar series. I knew that that's what it had to do with, and it has to do with the union between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and the coming together of all into one. And just as was stated in this quote, that is essentially the shift into 5th density. And so it's so funny because I didn't even read this quote until afterwards. And I'm also not like super obsessed about this linear, 4th to 5th to 6th. But I do think there's a reason why I am making this come into awareness right now, because I feel like a lot of us are trying to figure out, where are we? Like, we're trying to determine where our location is on this journey that we're in and trying to get some kind of frame of reference for where we are so we don't feel lost. And that is exactly where I think so many of us are. I did feel as I was holding this seminar series, and by the way, you can actually find the playback on my website if you look for, I'll put the link below. But it's an incredible over 3 hours worth of content, channeled messages. And I feel like that's really what was happening. And it was interesting, like I said, because as I was preparing it, I really felt like this seminar was for the way showers of the way showers. And I don't even mean just the people who were there live to listen to it. I mean anybody who gets their hands on that playback or participated and co-created that seminar in any way, shape, or form is a way shower of the way shower. I just know that in my heart of hearts. And in fact, I believe that I used that verbiage at one point, or at least the being that I was channeling used that verbiage to the audience there. It was like, you are the way showers of the way showers. And if you think about it, you've got people still in third density. You've got those in fourth density where there is still duality. And you've got those in fifth density who are shifting out of that and into non-duality. And for those of you who have listened to me for a while, know that I'm essentially manifesting to be in that sort of fifth density space where it's all about non-duality and unity consciousness. I had an interesting comment come up in one of my YouTube videos. Somebody commented and said, and I think it was maybe last week, so it would have been the Ascension Message around the 8th of, or it was 9/9, it was my 9/9 Ascension Message for 2022. And they said, well, don't we all choose? Don't we all choose if we want to have duality? Isn't it okay? Isn't this what we chose? And I actually completely agree with that. It is true that those of us who came at this time chose to experience duality. And those who have come onto the planet during these different eras where duality has been prevalent, they came for that reason, because it's an expanding thing. And it's like when Sal Rachele's quote said, you don't look at it as light and dark. You just look at it as different shades on a palette, different colors, different hues. Spirit uses that analogy a lot for me when I'm dealing with people, especially people who are looking to make a choice and they have about, 15 different options, or they feel overwhelmed by how many options there are and they don't feel drawn to one in particular. I actually think that is a theme that is very prevalent in this time and age, because we are being given the reins. Again, another theme I've talked about lately. We are being given the reins. We are being put in the driver's seat. And it is our choice what we decide to do to create our reality. And there is no supposed to. There is no, I'm supposed to do this one particular path. We get to choose. Do we want to use red or pink or blue or purple or lavender or any shade? Because they're all equal and they're all going to give us expansion. They're all going to provide some kind of progression and some kind of growth on this spiritual journey. So I want to take a moment and just remind you of that. I feel again like there's a lot of programming that we're still releasing and that we're still navigating through that. And especially as way showers of way showers, yes, we came to experience duality, but we also came to be a bridge for those transitioning from a state of duality to a state of non-duality. In other words, from 4D to 5D. It was really fascinating because earlier this year, I actually offered your DNA readings. It wasn't just cosmic DNA, but there was a DNA reading to see kind of what density you were at. And where I do believe that we are multidimensional and that anybody can read kind of probably all of those, there is some sort of shift happening to the collective. It's really our awareness is shifting to the 5D. But in order to do that, there have to be the way showers of the way showers. There have to be those who are already on the other side of it, anchoring into that reality and into that vibration so that others have a frame of reference for it. So as I present to you all of these ideas and concepts, I hope that something in there resonates with you. I want to go back to what I mentioned at the beginning regarding going within and feeling silence and feeling stillness. I know I've mentioned in the podcast over the last couple of weeks, but I have honestly not done as much light language as I usually do in my one-on-one sessions. And as I've tapped into spirit, because I'm curious, I want to know why. Like, I follow my intuition, and so I don't really usually doubt it. I just go, okay, I'm not going to speak light language right now. And spirit has just let me know that right now is a time to go within, and there's a lot of overstimulation that's occurring. And so it's important for us to manage that as well. So if you do light language and you work with people, or you do different modalities and you work with people, I wonder if you've also picked up on that. I wonder if you've toned things down like I have felt to do. I've really felt like some of those really crazy activations and codes are just kind of taking a back seat right now, honestly. We're not really needing those right now. I've felt a lot drawn to nature, and something I've mentioned in the last couple podcast episodes. And again, I would love to hear your comments about this and your experiences with this if you drop in the comment section if you're on my YouTube channel. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you could go to my YouTube channel and you could drop a comment there if you would like. I would love to have you co-create with me there. But it's interesting to me, and again, I've picked up on it just from my one-on-one sessions and from some of the people in my mentorship group. I have a private Instagram group where I'm able to get feedback and interact with them. And I've really just felt that stillness has been very prevalent lately. And in this place of stillness, interestingly enough, I found that a lot of us are discovering how the procedures and the process of healing is changing. Whereas before, it would have taken years, sometimes just months, but years, a long time, a really lengthy amount of time. It seems as if we are learning in our shift to 5D how to address that which needs to be healed, transmuted, whatever you want to call it. It's happening much more quickly. And here's how I kind of saw it. This actually came through in a session the other day where I was just taking in some information and Spirit dropped in and said, look, before what would happen is you were not fully embodying into yourself. You were not connecting with your body, and most of the light workers weren't. It's just difficult sometimes for us too. And this is, again, another theme that's come up over the last few weeks. But as we fully embody, we are noticing that which needs to be healed more rapidly. And we can kind of do more maintenance level healing rather than having these huge catalyst times where we do plant medicine and it all goes down for like 24 hours and we're down and out and processing, and it's really extreme on our bodies and very, very difficult to go through. And we're just going, we don't have to do it that way. We're like, oh, we feel something, a little ping in our arm or our elbow or our knee or our stomach, or it just comes into our mind like, hey, there's this little thing that you should probably transmute and release or heal. Oh, okay. All right. And in a split second, it's done. Whereas before, we were so numb, we didn't even notice any of that stuff. Piles of it built up and piles of it built up. And then we did a huge thing like ayahuasca or any of those different modalities that kind of evoke and allow and facilitate giant shifts, which aren't bad by any means, but they can be kind of hard on the body. And that's not how it's always going to be as we shift into this new vibration. It's going to come easier. It's going to be quick. So for those of you who are used to these huge, grand, emotional waves and days of healing, I just want you to notice the little things now. Notice those little twinges and those little adjustments that are being made just on a daily basis. Because again, our nervous systems are healing. They've been overstimulated for so long, as I said previously. And we're just really transitioning to a state of tranquility, to a state where the new norm is to have calm and stillness. And it might feel a little boring, but we're going to get used to it. We're going to get used to it, and it's going to be amazing. All right, I'm going to pop in here at the end because I'm excited for a few events I have coming up over the next few weeks. The first one being Saturday, September 17th, I have my first in-person event in Los Angeles. I don't know if there'll be tickets left by the time I publish this. There might be. I'll drop the link below anyhow. If you are there, I want you to come and say hi to me after the gathering. I'm so excited to meet you. I'm also having another live gathering in Connecticut in the middle of October. It'll be October 13th at this beautiful, beautiful place called the Angel Co-op. The link is below if you want to find out more about that. I'm doing 2 different Galactic Starseed Connections workshops there. One's in the day and one's in the evening. So if you are in that area, I again would love to meet you. As far as virtual gatherings go, I do have 2 more virtual gatherings coming up this month. Both of them are actually happening on the 25th of September. One is our Lemurian Sisterhood of the Rose gathering, and the other is our Light Language Circle. The Light Language Circle is for people who maybe are just learning how to do light language, not sure, want to dip their toes into it. It's a great place for beginners and people who have already done light language for a while. I try to create this space that will activate whatever is the next thing as far as your light language gifts go that needs to be activated. So those 2 things are coming up on the 25th of September. The last event, or should I say program, that I want to draw your attention to is the fact that I have totally revamped and refreshed my multidimensional soul integration program. I'm relaunching it in October for a group of 7 people. And so these are smaller cohorts. This is how I am still providing one-on-one sessions. I'm not really doing one-off one-on-one sessions anymore, but as part of my programs, I am. So whether it's mentorship or this multidimensional soul integration program, those are different ways that you can still connect with me one-on-one. And I would love to have you join either of those. All the details are below if you want to find out more and if that piqued your interest. So circling back to the topics that we mentioned today, I just want to let you know, do not be afraid of the stillness and the silence. Go deep, go within. You will find that you are more sensitive to the small adjustments that need to be made, and your healing process will take a whole nother shape and a whole nother form of ease and flow as we head into this new earth 5D vibration. Again, thank you so much for co-creating. I am sending you so much love as always, and reminding you that I am you and you are me and we are we.